All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. No. All right, this is going to be, all right.
Try this. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. You've seen and seeing is believing. Your eyes and your ears will be bleeding. Please
That's
check
right.
to see if you're still breathing.
Your eyes and ears are going to be bleeding. Welcome, one and all, to the Productive Conversations podcast here on my official first Zoom interview. Here it is, or I should say first productive Zoom conversation. Here it is. Ryan Page from Norwalk, Connecticut, now belongs to the town of New Brunswick, New Jersey. What's going on, Ryan? How are you?
I think it's presumptuous to say this will be a productive Zoom conversation. We should see how it goes first. But I'm doing good, Matt. How are you?
I'm great. I'm really excited. See, now we're, I don't know. Is this your first Zoom meeting, Ryan, that you were looking forward to?
My first Zoom meeting that I was looking forward to? No, we had Easter over Zoom this year.
Oh,
I was pretty excited about that one, seeing everybody on Zoom. It was just an interesting format to see, my grandparents and my cousins on. But the first Zoom meeting in several months that I've been excited to be at and been allowed to drink at. So that's good.
Yes, you have to remember that Zoom is more than just work most of the time. Or you can do the fun stuff like talking with family and friends and have these podcasts. And after a good 20 minutes of troubleshooting, but we're finally here. And, this is really cool. All right. Where do we start, Ryan?
Yes, it is.
It's mid-October. Exactly 3 weeks from today is the election for the President of the United States.
And other things.
And other things, of course.
Yeah.
Let's start
arguably
with that,
more important.
Ryan. You are a big fan of politics and current events.
I follow it. It's hard. No one calls themselves a big fan of politics. That's just weird. Or maybe some people do. I don't know. I think it's a little weird. But I mean, I follow it because it's important. It's literally what's happening now. But I do also follow the history. I think campaigns are probably the most absurd thing people have ever done. It's super important. I'm not bashing it. But I think they're so interesting because it's basically, a group of people, eventually down to two people, trying to make more friends than the other one. Trying to become more popular in the course of a few months than they had been a few months previous. Or, I mean, now it's like 2 years long or whatever. But so I think campaigning is probably one of the most interesting things that a person can do. And so I like to follow like campaign news and things like that, if for no other reason than it's just such a weird ritual that we do. And I know other countries do it, but I know like Canada, they're like wham bam. They get it done in like 4 months. They say who's going to be running and then they do it. And then they have a prime minister and that's that. Like their elections are not like ours. Ours are like 2 years long and you've got like inter-party, primaries. You've got who can vote, who can vote in the primary, who can only vote in the general. How do you have to vote this year? That's obviously big with mail-in being expanded in a lot of states to accommodate people who don't or can't leave their home because of coronavirus in their area. So it's just, there's a lot of, it's just super weird the way we do it. And I find that interesting. So I guess in that regard, I am.
So it really is a battle of, I don't want to say it's a popularity contest because that just seems so cliche. Yeah, but I mean, it does seem like even this will be corny too. It's almost like watching a reality TV show with these campaigns.
It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be a reality TV show. That's a new thing.
Yeah, it's like
around the same time we had reality TV people run in the elections, it started to look more like a reality TV show. But
I mean, look who we have now. We clearly have some of our, the two of the most popular ones on the bill. Not only, we have former Vice President Joe Biden on the Democratic ticket. We have current President of the United States Donald Trump on the Republican ticket. I mean, we do. I can't think of anyone on the Green Party, the Libertarian.
That doesn't matter.
But
this year.
Ryan, I think we've literally talked about politics and this conversation and witnessing the election is 4 years in the making. I remember, 4 years ago, we were seniors in college, talking about the election. We were talking about Buddy Oscar and stuff like that. And I remember, all that hype and what was going into that day just about 4 years ago. And I remember election day.
Yep.
That day, I was home for the semester. This was fall 2016. I was interning at CNN at the time. And my day's work, it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So, no working on Tuesday and Thursday. So
No election day.
Just a regular off day. I remember it was very overcast, not the peak of fall, but towards the end, but pretty much all the leaves are changed colors. I go in, I was voting with my dad, come back, just hung out during the day, and night. And then I was watching it like everybody else. And I had to wake up early in the morning to get to work, to get to my internship. So I go to bed, I remember going to bed after, some wacky tobacco, just some normal of that, hearing some coverage. So after that and going to bed.
Did you hear about, sorry to interrupt, did you hear about New Jersey, what we added to the ballot there?
Yeah, I saw they are, you're going to be voting for the recreational use of marijuana.
I mean, if it passes, it'll be summer. Could be as soon as summer.
And then you could, first of all, get some tax.
Then you'll come visit me.
I mean, I always visit you recreational availability, and just another reason, of course. But back to this, I go to bed thinking, man, when I wake up, just like a lot of people, we are gonna have. I really am gonna wake up with the first woman elected president.
Oh, you didn't stay up?
No, I fell asleep because I had work. I fell asleep at I went to bed at midnight and had to get up at 6. And I remember waking up. First thing, I go to my phone, and your text was the very first text I saw. And it's literally one of the most memorable texts I've ever received in my life. You said, probably at that time, it must have been 2, 3 in the morning. Holy shit, he fucking did it. And 4 years later, we are just about approaching to see if he can do it again. And surely the world and country's changed a lot since then.
Am I allowed to say that? Do you care if I share that opinion on your podcast?
Yes, say whatever you want.
I hope not.
I just admitted to doing wacky tobacco, so you
did.
You can say whatever you want.
You're in more trouble than I am. But I hope not. I mean, I stayed up, so I saw the results. I
remember, I think I have screenshots of your Snapchats, whether you or Melissa said to me, of you pacing around like a nervous mother.
Well, so I was, we were doing a lot of get out the vote at my college. I was the president of the student body at my college for 2016. Mm-hmm. And so I had taken it upon myself to spearhead all of that. So we had student debates. We had obviously the watch party for the election and some of the debates. We had guest speakers come on and talk. We partnered with things like, the Center for Life's Work at my school. We partnered with the Religious Studies department. So it was legitimate. It's still happening. It's hashtag NazVotes is what we called it. It's some sort of derivative off of that now. But this is still a student coordinator. It's no longer the president per se. That was just, kind of, it happened to work out that way. Because I was the president, I had a budget to do it. Yeah. But now they have their own budget for election years. They put their results out there. I guess they were doing that beforehand, to see who voted and how often, and keep track of all that stuff. So it's legit now. But when we did it, it was just me doing a bunch of things for people on campus. And so I had a room full of college students till 3 a.m. just watching as the results came in, and obviously most of them. Actually, I would say by the end, all of them. There were a few people who supported the president there in the beginning, and they left. But everybody else was they stick around and they just watched with me, and it just the room got more gloom, and I was like, oh God, I'm gonna have tears on these people are gonna start crying. So I was a bit of a mess. I had a final the next day. Well, not a final. It was a weird sort of capstone project. And I was actually doing a speech for it. And I rewrote the speech after Donald Trump won. No, it was that night. I went to bed and stuff. But that night, while he was in that like hotel room or whatever the heck he was doing, when he won, I had to I didn't have to, but I chose to rewrite my speech because like everything I wrote kind of doesn't make any sense anymore.
Yeah.
The
Well,
whole
you
world's
see,
different.
congratulations to the first. Oh wait, no, I gotta change that. Yeah, that we will not forget that day. I remember the day after for you how to work. Like for me, so yeah, worked at CNN, went to work. It rained that day.
Yeah.
I remember I have my own phone now, doing my own plan, but I highly suggest unlimited data, at least for someone like me. But I go in, I use my data for the month because the first thing I did, I got on my commuter train and put on the Sirius app. I listened to Howard Stern's reaction. You know, one of the reasons why we're here. We have him right here and behind me, so twice.
Now, if you had turned the camera and Howard Stern was sitting there, that would have been one heck of a podcast. I'm just saying.
Oh man,
really got to work on that for the next episode. Next time I'm on.
I could, former Sirius XM intern. I can get back in there if he got ahead, right? But anyways, I kill my data for the month. just hearing. I just had to hear his reaction. I remember him and Robin Quivers were just like, oh, it sounded sarcastic, but it was just so shocking at the time.
It was shocking, yeah.
So I go. It's raining in the city. I took a subway, so I took the shuttle to Times Square, and then I took a one train uptown to Columbus Circle, and it was quiet, very somber. All the strangers, no subway hecklers were heckling anybody that day. Well, they probably were. I didn't see. People were just really awkward. Yeah, no one bothered me. That's what's great. If you're really dressed up, most of the time hecklers won't heckle you in New York. Jeez. Because they know, like, oh, he's trained to ignore me. Anyways.
Huh.
So I go up. So we go, and they had I actually worked in the newsroom. So my department, I was a program development intern for the original program.
Yeah.
So like United Shades of America.
It's a good show.
Anthony Bourdain's show at the time. Yes, very rest in peace. Lisa Ling. And then, CNN documentaries. I worked on like the Kennedys miniseries, one for HLN, Headline News Network, about the Unabomber. So I worked in the one non-news, the one creative editorial section, more editorial.
You weren't doing just news.
Yeah, so I was working on a Unabomber. I transcribed interviews for a Unabomber documentary. That was what I did that day. But beforehand, they had a humongous gourmet breakfast for the entire CNN staff that day. Yeah. Because, like you mentioned, it's 2 years of coverage for them. It's everyone all around the place, and that's it. You're finally done with the biggest news story. But it seemed
so
that
they thought.
Yeah, so I think it's fair to say that the CNN community was very shocked of what happened.
Oh, and
everyone went. So the big gourmet breakfast included like gourmet bacon, egg, and cheeses, Belgian waffles.
How do you gourmet a bacon, egg, and cheese? Isn't it at some point doesn't it just reach a plateau?
Like this isn't the one you got at the bodega. This like the best looking bread. The bacon looked like the fake bacon you get in commercials. It was just
bodega one's probably better though.
Literally, well, I don't know. This place looked. This place.
Oh, it was pretty good.
It was spectacular.
Did you have any? Did they let you in?
I definitely had some crepes. Oh my god, I went in with that. But yeah, what happened is everyone took their meals and they sat with their little friends or teams in corners and they just talked it out, like some crazy event happened, and we really, I worked.
You sat with Anderson Cooper, correct? He was in your little team.
I mean, he'd be so yeah. As a talent intern, I didn't have much of an interaction except one time passing him in the hall, but what would happen is I would get the coffee to give to his assistant who would give him the
I mean that's basically the same thing.
Yeah, but I didn't actually hand it to him, but I was the third tier, but he definitely couldn't have gotten it without me.
And that's what's important.
Exactly, right? But anyways, no, I just sat with my small team, my producer, mentor Brittany, and there were these two other girls and then like our boss came and we just all sat, just talked like, oh man, like what happened? Like what does this mean? Of course, definitely people think of the worst case scenarios at the time, and
they were still wrong, as it turns out.
Oh man, and it's crazy. That is just we're approaching 4 years later. I mean, president, look at what's happening. Obviously, the coronavirus pandemic. Who would have thought at the time that I'd witness a president who was getting caught in a sex scandal with a former porn star? That was one thing that happened. Then we see,
That was
of
the most
course,
tame thing that's happened.
from the Muslim ban, the handling of social justice issues, and a lot of stuff took place since that day, and now we can change it. And this is a cool opportunity. I think it's almost, you're not cool if you don't vote, with how much we're getting thrown votes from celebrities.
You'd be surprised at just how cool people who don't vote are going to feel. They're not. The whole thing with I did some research for you, by the way, because I know you texted me. Why is Josh Gad naked for elections?
Yeah, exactly.
This is a good thing. Yeah. So they were talking about something. No one knows that because it was just.
They just cared about the naked part.
But and this actually happened to me. And so when you get your mail-in ballot, you have to put it in an envelope and then in a second envelope. There's like a process you have to follow. And if you don't follow it, they're just going to toss it out. They're not even going to look at it. Really? And so what they're saying, and so if you get the ballot, you fill it out, you throw it in the return envelope and you send it, that doesn't count. Right? So that's what they were talking about. That's called a naked ballot. And so that's what they were trying to raise awareness about, like follow the instructions, don't submit a naked ballot, fill the entire, chain from filling out the ballot, folding it, putting it in the first one, sealing it, signing it, putting the first one into the actual return envelope, and then mailing it out. They were trying to raise awareness for that, but again, it was just so absurd that nobody paid any attention. It was just,
they just cared.
Why are these people naked? Why is Chris Rock and Mark Ruffalo naked? So you'd be surprised at just how uncool voting will still be to a lot of people. And some people are like busy. They shouldn't be. There should be no work.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, there should be some sort of there should be some sort of half day or some sort of, they should work it out where people have time off specifically to go vote. That doesn't cut into lunch. That doesn't cut into the time that they have to spend, making their kids dinner or helping with homework. Like, you shouldn't have to take time out of your life to do something that's required. And it should be required. Like, the people even if you don't have a presidential election, like, arguably the other ones are more important.
Yeah, definitely local and
in Norwalk, state. Where you are now, there's a whole slate of local elections. Here in Middlesex County, New Jersey too, but in Middlesex County, New Jersey, nothing exciting happens. It's a pretty it's pretty much a monoculture where I live. But in Norwalk, there's a lot of activity.
Yeah, we have the big battle, for instance, between Bob Duff and Ellie.
Well, I don't know which ones I would actually consider big battles. I don't think the results are going to shock anybody.
And it's funny. So, one of the big issues that is affecting this vote. So, one thing's at this time. So, the state of Connecticut.
You're going to make me say bad things on your podcast?
Well, of course, we're really in. So, the state of Connecticut decided to not allow high school full 11-on-11 contact football.
Good call.
And that, which we have different opinions on how that, I think as long as they could play in so many other states, why not? And I do understand why that's also the other side of it. But what's crazy and I'm mentioning it is a lot of people are deciding their votes based on how those politicians handled that. How they handled high school football being allowed or not. That's going to be what makes someone decide to vote red or vote blue. Isn't that something? That's how superficial we've gotten. Not about not about your taxes for your vehicle or property tax or handling of.
Some people do vote about that stuff too.
Of course, but it seems, that is one of your big voting points. What do you think about football?
So I think this kind of goes to what I was telling you about earlier. That's one of those things that people are talking about right now, but it's not going to make anyone who wasn't going to vote a certain way. I don't think that's that's going to even get people. Like, if you were not going to vote and then this football thing happened, you weren't going to suddenly start voting. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a myth. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm just making this up. I have no reason to think my opinion is any more right. It's just what my opinion is. But I don't think anyone's going to be like, well, I wasn't going to vote. I was going to sit this one out. Didn't see the need. But, high school football got canceled. And so out of vengeance, I'm going to vote in this election. I mean, maybe some high school kids, maybe some high school seniors who played football, who this is their first election. Maybe this could persuade them.
18-year-olds who gets in.
But I don't see a lot of people being like, football is the motivating factor of this election. I think the motivating factor of this election is probably who's going to be president of the United States.
Right. That is
in most
big
places
deal.
Anyway.
And, that's what I'm going. I'm voting in person. That's all I plan. And
they moved my polling place, so they closed a bunch of polling places here.
Really? Where do you have to
some
go?
Places are not open yet, so they have to.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm at a church, and there's another one. There's a school that got closed too, because they aren't opening those buildings right now for a lot of people, and so they can't house it. So now everyone's voting at like City Hall or Borough Hall because we're not a city. But yeah. So a little nervous about that, I guess, because I think everyone in Highland Park is going to vote there. I think they have to. I think that's where they were told to go. So there might be some lines, but we're going to go early. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully. I don't know. I just feel bad because all of the poll workers are they're usually elderly here anyway. I don't know about other places. And I mean, like I said, I don't have the day off. Otherwise, like myself and Melissa, we could do the poll work. It's pretty easy. If you can read, you can be a poll worker. So actually, even if you can't, you could probably find something to do. But they're going to have a hard time staffing multiple polling locations because everyone who is at a lower risk of getting sick is also currently working.
Hence why your idea about requiring the day off or a national holiday for the election.
Yeah, but see, then it gets all weird because then some people don't get paid. So like you gotta work around that too. It's just there's a whole bunch of bad ways to do things, and that's the way it is. But yeah, there should be some way for people to get the day off to vote because it would increase participation. But that's my opinion.
I believe
hot take number one.
And I agree with it. One of the things before we transition to the next topic, what's funny, Ryan? Look at the differences between our backgrounds, which you mentioned before. My background.
Yeah. One of us had a girlfriend design the apartment. The other one did not.
It's
and you
all
can tell
me
because only one of us has pictures of The Rock on their wall.
The Rock and Barack Obama next to each other. With on this side, we have.
I see Django.
Who do you see right here? I have Django this is from Blu-ray cover.
Yeah. I don't know what R2C2 is.
Oh, that's one of my podcasts. That's one of my sports podcasts. Ryan Rucco, another Ryan Rucco, CC Sabathia for that one.
CC Sabathia has a podcast?
Yeah, that's where they team up for that. It's really good. Really, really good.
And Anchorman is.
Yes, I got it.
On the other side.
A ripped Anchorman poster, but I can't let it go here. Big Lebowski. I have some comedy legends. Lights Hard.
I can't see that one. There's a glare.
What other ones? We have Martin Scorsese directing Leo. Under that, Spike Lee's directing Adam Driver, and then Quentin Tarantino. Maybe you could see the best. Quentin Tarantino directing Brad Pitt. I have Sopranos winning Emmys. Breaking Bad winning Emmys.
There's Jordan.
Mad Men. Yes, Jordan's The Shot versus Cleveland versus the Cavs. We have Eddie Murphy doing stand-up. Joel and Evan, A Map of the City. Mike and the Mad Dog is right there. Joey Diaz, too. Joe Rogan. Yeah, I just, just put some of the greats on. At least the greats to me. This is very specifically me.
Matt Brown's greatest hits there.
Yeah, I mean, right here I have a Tina Fey poster, a ripped up from a Rolling Stone magazine. This is one of the funniest ones. I don't know if you can see. This is from 21 Jump Street's. I don't know. This is from 21 Jump Street's Blu-ray. I just opened up.
I can't see it. I feel like I remember that Blu-ray though. I remember seeing it at your house probably. But
Did we see it together in theaters? I feel like we probably did.
we saw at least one of those movies together in theaters.
Oh yeah, and
I don't remember which one, but we saw at least one together in theaters. Yeah.
But for sure, this room and setup is definitely a cross between me being myself, and it looks like I'm a sorority chick or with all her friends up there. My besties. I have a cousin named Allie, and she's just the most stereotypical sorority chick ever. You know, I'm sure she's enjoying her time, and you know, God bless her. But it's funny because she's just so
stereotypical now.
She literally says bestie. Oh my god, my besties, and oh my god,
I know grown adults who say bestie now.
Grown adults, sophisticated adults in their 30s.
Yeah, people say it now. It's part of the culture.
You're my bestie. The culture. What's up with this culture? Like, there's some things now that we're in our mid-20s. We're both 25 years old, and I feel like I'm at an age now where I really don't understand some references. Like, for instance, TikTok. I'm definitely aware of TikTok, but I couldn't tell you who were the biggest ones. Of course, we have the famous D'Amelio family becoming big from TikTok, and but that's really it. I don't know who like other big stars. I've heard of Addison.
Jason Derulo is big on TikTok.
Jason Derulo. He's a legit.
Yeah, he wrote a whole song based off a TikTok dance. Yeah, have you heard? I don't know if you listened to Top 40, but that Savage Love song.
Definitely, if I heard the song,
you look it up. But yeah, it's a TikTok dance. I thought his song was used on TikTok. Then I was put in my place by my sister, who actually does TikTok. No,
you will listen to this.
The song was first, like the melody or whatever, and then I guess the song that he recorded came afterward, using like sampling the melody from TikTok. So Jason Derulo is pretty big at TikTok.
And then we see TikTok being responsible to making songs popular again. What's that song? You've always wondered where I've been. That random one-hit wonder in the 70s guy.
I don't know.
He goes back. But Dreams, Fleetwood Mac's Dreams, I think charted in the top 100 again because of that.
Did it really? Did that really change the charts?
Yeah, like I'm
oh my God.
Dead serious.
So do you know anything about that trend? Because I don't know. I saw like I don't know if he's a Marine. That was stupid for me to say. I saw a serviceman in a helicopter with a cranberry juice flying over somewhere, and that song was playing. And then he showed a little dog with like flight goggles. That's the only one I had seen, and I thought it was like a one-off. And then I guess not. I guess it's an actual TikTok trend. So I don't know if that was the first one, because I saw it a while ago, or if that was just one of many.
The first one was that guy with the neck tattoo riding with his car broke down, and he just rolled in his little skateboard. That was the first one.
That was the first one? All right.
You saw Mick Fleetwood do it again, and a bunch of people are just doing it now. But I'm reading Billboard magazine. This was posted just 12 hours ago. The title is Fleetwood Mac's Dreams charts on Hot 100 for the first time since 1977.
Oh, that's
thanks
insane.
to TikTok revival. And
I mean, Fleetwood Mac is good, so I'm not opposed. I like Fleetwood Mac.
And guess what? It's number 21. It's pretty high up there.
So who released a new song and it's got a big marketing push and is currently losing to a song from the 70s? Because I'd be pretty mad at my whole team if I was that artist. Really? This song has been readily available since the 70s, and more people chose to listen to it this week than my brand new song.
Now, all right, let me tell you what is in between these. So we have, according to this, I love it. It has it here, re-entered. All right, Circles by Post Malone is number 22 under it.
Well, Circles has been out a long time.
One of Them Girls by Lee Brice. I'm not familiar with who that is.
He's a country singer. I know who Lee Brice is, but I've never heard the song.
But we have who are some new ones? We have 21 Savage went down this week. Harry Styles went down. Kane Brown.
Do you like Harry Styles?
Do I like Harry Styles? I respect him. I think he's I think he's a good actor. I liked what I've seen him.
What's he acted in?
Like in he's really good on SNL, if you count that. He was good in Dunkirk. I liked him in those.
He was in Dunkirk?
Yeah. He had a small part.
I didn't know that. I didn't see Dunkirk, so that could be part of the reason I didn't know that.
But we have 21 Savage debuted this week under Fleetwood Mac.
You say, like, I'd be
Megan Thee
mad.
Stallion had another song, though it's not, her big hits, but she has a song with Young Thug that's brand new. That goes under it.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of 21 Savage.
That'd make me upset too.
Man, Fleetwood Mac really isn't going anywhere. And
But hey, whatever.
But yeah, the Savage Love, according to this, is the number one song in the world. In the United States of America, it's number one right now.
Right now?
Yeah, by Jarish, 685, and JC Derulo and BTS.
Oh, that's a new one. They added BTS to it. So that's going to keep it up there for another 6.5 weeks because
this is the number one
BTS will
song.
release their own music and be number one again. They'll release a song, and then they'll re-release a song with, like, something slightly different. Call it a different thing slightly. So, like, it'll be like, disco theme, or it'll be like, remix, obviously, for something, or like rodeo theme, and then it'll be number one again. Those fans are just absolutely, I mean,
BTS fans are loyal. I have a younger cousin.
I think that, they call themselves the Army, right?
I couldn't, if you play me a BTS song, I wouldn't know.
I don't even know. I know two.
That's part of the things
I knew an old one. Do you remember Panda, the designer? That rapper, he had like 6 eyes in his name for some reason.
Like Panda. I like the one who has broads in Atlanta.
I think so. I think he does. He did a song with BTS like 3 years ago. It was pretty much just a hip hop, like top 40 hip hop pop kind of mix.
Yeah.
But they didn't really sing that much in it. Like they rapped a lot, and I was like, all right, so it's like a Korean rap group. I didn't know there was 7 of them, but I was like, okay, it's a Korean rap group. And then I was listening to an Apple commercial. I was like, this song is super catchy. And I looked it up, and it was them. I was like, well, this is the same people? I thought they were rappers. I've spent 3 years assuming BTS were rappers. And
that's hilarious.
Apparently, like, maybe 2 of them are. Most of them are, like, they're all dancers, and, they mostly sing. I didn't know that. But, yeah, that Dynamite song, that's the one I know. Very catchy.
Who is, like, the leader of BTS? Who's the Justin Timberlake? Who's the...
I don't know if they have one.
They're truly.
I mean, have you ever watched them all? They all look like they're doing the dances exactly the same. I mean,
I guess you could say the TV was on when I was on, but no, I didn't pay attention. But that really is like one of the huge major artists. I couldn't. If you played, I would have no idea. I probably heard it. I probably heard it.
Get a little like bop your head like this. You can listen to the Dynamite song. It really is. It's like very, very catchy.
Do you think this will be played when the bar scene returns and people will be dancing to it?
I don't know how old the average BTS fan is. I really don't. I'm assuming they're younger.
Yeah, but
I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't even know how old they are. I know they're in their 20s, probably.
I mean, they really living it up. Let me just, according to the Google, BTS. I'm gonna look up one of them. Okay, so so forgive me if I get this wrong. So they all, I guess, have single names. One is named Jin, Suga, J-Hope, RM, Jimin, V, Jungkook. And
that's the guy who stands in the front the most.
Jungkook stands in the front the most.
I think I didn't time it.
Yeah,
but I recognized him in the front most of the time when I watched them perform that one song that I watched. So.
He's 21. Sorry, he's 23.
Oh, Jesus. He's very good.
Man.
I mean.
God bless them.
No, actually, yeah, there's no I mean. They're very good. Obviously, in America, it'll be a little bit harder for them. I'm assuming English is probably limited. They're probably not fluent. But you don't have to be fluent in English to, be an amazing dancer. And, I mean, obviously, they've proven you don't even have to be fluent in English to sing. In English, because they do it.
Hey, man.
And they're like number 3 on the charts or whatever.
Whatever they could do to change the world. Oh, man. Ryan, one of the things we have in common, we're wrestling fans.
We are. I'm actually, I don't know if you could see the Get These Hands shirt. You can just see the Get These. But...
Who is that for our listeners who aren't aware?
Oh, that is Braun Strowman, the monster among men. I don't actually know if he goes by that anymore, but at the time, when I bought the shirt, that was his tagline.
So wrestling, I think one thing about wrestling, there are the casual fans, the real fans, the
No,
fake
everyone who
fans.
likes it is a fan. A real
Yeah,
fan.
I think, one thing that bothers me, that bothers you, that bothers Adam Blompiate is for all those, the YouTube commenter, of course, and those people who say wrestling's fake. And one thing you could say, what, Game of Thrones is fake, or
It's more fake.
might as well The Bachelor's fake. I mean,
Well, it is fake.
so what do you think? And it's 2020 now. I do think wrestling, if you put a legit entertaining aspect of wrestling, a cool match, I do think you can get, at least grab someone's attention for a minute, and we'll see where it could go from there. And I do think, well, when wrestling gets it right in like the entertainment aspects, and I think it is stupid most of the time, but when they get it right, it really is something that anybody can really enjoy and get
that's
used
the
to.
issue with it. So I mean, I was a little kid when I started watching it.
Yeah, as did
And I actually, to be honest with you, I mean, I had like played the video games and stuff, so I always kind of liked it. But I only started watching it because I knew somebody who was going to be on, not as a wrestler, but as like a side character. He was an actor, and I knew this person, and he told everyone like that he knew, like, you got to watch Monday Night Raw. I'm going on. I'm playing. So right away, by the way, I knew it was fake. My very first time watching, even as a little kid, knew it was fake. My parents were obviously like, yeah, you can't hit people with chairs. It's illegal, and also it will cause serious damage. So that's all fake.
It's so
They
crazy.
didn't really know how, and they didn't really bother
Headshots.
to explain how. They're just like, it's fake. They didn't really care to know how. They're like, it hurts, I'm sure, but it's not real. You don't do it to other people, please. And then the fact that I watched someone I knew in real life play Trish Stratus's boyfriend
Ooh.
in the Mickey
Lucky man.
James Trish Stratus feud, where she was like trying to steal everything. He had like reoccurring roles and stuff too, and he got kicked in the head at one point by Mickey James, who still wrestles, by the way.
Yeah.
So I knew
saw
that was
her at a
fake.
Met game once.
Really?
I didn't say hi, but I saw her.
No. She wouldn't know you, so it'd be weird if you walked up and said hi. But yeah, so right away I was like, all right, I know this person. This person is not legitimately dating Trish Stratus. I knew that as well. I knew who they were legitimately dating. So I was like, it's acting. It's all play. And I mean, so I never got like that same stigma. I don't freak out when people are like, it's fake. I'm like, I know. But I do get, it is weird. And the reason people don't watch it a lot more, well, I shouldn't say that. There's probably a ton of reasons. Maybe people just don't like it. But in terms of like when it's entertaining, it's entertaining. The problem is it's usually stupid.
Yeah.
I watch it every week, and I can freely admit most of the time wrestling is stupid and silly. I happen to actually like it when it gets stupid and silly sometimes. I think that's funny.
Of course.
I don't think everything needs to be, highbrow comedy to be entertainment. Sometimes I get a good laugh when R-Truth fights a ninja. That's funny to me. I don't need it to be a real fight scene. I don't need CGI. I don't need trained stunt doubles. Or Rob Gronkowski. Actually, no, none of that was funny. But
Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah, none of that was funny. But in general, like sometimes they just tell a joke. It's a silly joke. And you laugh. You giggle. But I could see why that wouldn't bring in new fans, because it's not, nothing new. It's nothing super exciting. It's just most of the time it's silly. And then sometimes it's not. But would you watch a show that was mostly silly, mostly not your thing, but sometimes you really liked it?
It's like when I watch a really great show, there's sometimes it's really funny, the really great authentic shows like a Sopranos, it can be hilarious sometimes. It's almost a dark comedy. Mad Men can be funny, and that's a very serious show. And you're right,
but
there has to be a balance.
Like every sixth episode of Mad Men was superb, but the rest of them you kind of found like silly.
Hey, that's like Walking Dead.
Same storyline all the time. No, I liked it. I'm rewatching the beginning of Walking Dead right now. Just the beginning. I gave up. I don't know if I'll watch the whole thing, but
you'll watch
it's
up
Halloween
to
season, so spooky season, as we say. So
yeah,
I'm watching some Walking Dead during the day.
American Horror Story 2.
I just finished The Boys too, which is not at all.
How
scary.
is The Boys? I have not heard one bad thing said about that.
Really good, very funny, but like still obviously action and whatever, and there's intrigue. Left on a huge cliffhanger. I won't spoil it, obviously, but left season 2, huge cliffhanger. Very excited for season 3. But yeah, I mean, I finished it in 2 days, so I've got all of the boys rattling around in my head. But
Get your deep dives in after this.
yeah.
One thing with wrestling, back to wrestling.
Yep.
With 2020, sorry, it's 2020.
Yes.
Who would you say is the biggest star in the WWE right now, or a couple big stars? Like, who was the Rock and Stone Cold to?
Yeah, there is no Rock and Stone Cold. I don't think. I don't think there ever is going to be another Rock.
Or like, who are the faces of WWE right now?
Well, I don't know. I feel like if you ask WWE, they wouldn't be able to answer that question. No, seriously. I mean, I don't know how deep do you want me to get into it?
I mean, when we were growing up, definitely John Cena was the guy.
Well, yeah.
Like, I don't know. People could say
I don't think they have a John Cena either.
Yeah, except to like the more casual to legitimate fan, like.
But yeah, honestly, I think John Cena is still the John Cena. I don't know if there's, if you ask someone the name of WWE wrestler, I still feel like they'll say John Cena.
Yeah, like with wrestling, I mean, okay, some people we could say now who are big. You have your Roman Reigns, you have the Fiend, you have Bayley and Sasha Banks. I saw Sasha Banks when I worked on TV.
Yeah,
Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt is the Fiend. You just said him twice.
Oh, right. But, those are some things. Do you feel, having said that, people we know, do you think there could be a time where these faces are more popular people on wrestling? Could they cross over to the mainstream and, like, at least have a presence until maybe they decide to become an actor?
As wrestlers, as wrestlers. I mean, I know people who love the Marvel movies. I mean, everybody loves the Marvel movies, I think. But I know people who watch the Guardians of the Galaxy movies who have no idea that's a professional wrestler.
Yeah, Dave Bautista plays.
Yeah, not a clue that's Bautista. I actually went to the movie and I was, excited to see Bautista acting because I had never seen it before. And they're like, "Why are you so excited about, this guy, this particular character?" I was like, "That's Bautista." They're like, "Who?" And I was like, "The wrestler, Bautista."
And you don't know him?
No idea.
I'm just playing. I was just saying, like,
No, yeah, but they had no idea. So, like,
yeah, he played Drax the Destroyer.
Now they know him. Now everybody knows him. I mean, they know him as Dave Bautista, I think that's his actual name. But yeah, like everyone knows him now from Guardians, and I think he's in that spy movie with that little girl.
He did the movie with Kumail Nanjiani as well.
Yeah, and then wasn't he in a Bond movie too?
Yeah, he was in Spectre.
Yeah. So, I mean, now everybody knows who he is, but no one knew him from wrestling. I mean, the last time anybody, crazy? I mean, maybe, like I said, John Cena, though his acting credentials are still a little bit.
He still has a ways to go.
Yeah, but I mean, The Rock and John Cena, that's it. And the last person that people know who is like just a wrestler, wow, Hulk Hogan. I don't know, maybe Stone Cold. I don't even know. How many people really know who Stone Cold Steve Austin is?
I don't even think a lot of people know that unless you're around our age.
Yeah.
I one reference I use is my younger brother. My brother's Tom. He's 8 years younger than me. He actually knows who the Fiend is. How he knows, I don't know. But
well, the Fiend had those videos that were like those creepy videos he did for a while, and so maybe that got viral a little bit on YouTube. I don't know.
But it really is bizarre to see what wrestling has done, and I wonder if that.
Well, he also fought John Cena, so that might have been part of it.
Like some of the gimmicks even wrestling's done. I'll never forget this. I think this was one of the first times I saw wrestling was when in 2006. So we're entering.
Remember when I used to do the WrestleMania party?
What? Yeah, you had a WrestleMania party. We saw WrestleMania, I think 20.
I think I had 2.
3 or 22, one of those, right?
Yeah.
But they had Edge and Lita after he won a championship. They had a live sex celebration, sex celebration where the point is to have sex in front of an arena full of people to celebrate winning a championship. For some reason, that was offered in a writer's room. That was discussed. That was approved.
Yeah. That was a bad idea. That being said, Ric Flair came out. That was pretty funny. And John Cena came out and hit the finishing move on the bed there.
What did the parents explain to their kids? I definitely didn't watch with my dad. Like, what would somebody's parents say to explain? Like, what are they about to do, mom and dad?
Oh, my mom turned it off.
She just turned it off. You couldn't.
Yeah. My mom was an active participant in my professional wrestling. She didn't actually she wasn't that kind of parent that was like constantly checking, but she knew because she knew like 1990s professional wrestling, like the Attitude Era, which predates us. We're not at all part of that era, but she knew like the reputation it had, and so she was very nervous.
Like they literally,
she would constantly come in and see what was on the screen. As long as it was unadulterated violence, she was fine. But as soon as it crossed into that other territory, turn off the TV.
Listen, it's okay if you put another man's head to a steel chair and hit him concerto with that steel chair.
Right. That was.
But if they're having a bikini match, no.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know if you remember this. My mom told me she tried not to make it too obvious. But at that WrestleMania party, all of the meals were planned around the women's matches. This was before the women's revolution. For anyone who is a fan of wrestling who's listening, it was back when it was all like the nightgown matches and things like that. So whenever a woman's match came on, like the first one came on, all of a sudden food was ready, dinner was ready. Then the second one came on, and it was time for cake and presents. Yeah, my mom kept she basically was well-oiled machine. She had everything planned to keep us away from the screen when the women were going to be scantily dressed.
How inspiring. One of the most offensive things now that you would see that somebody again approved, HLA, hot lesbian action. They actually did that just to get ratings. Then they had that wrestler Kelly do a strip tease. Like that was the segment.
Oh, is she Kelly Expo? That was the way they introduced her as a wrestler.
Like
as someone who,
can't believe those were things. So they really
she's like a 5-time champion or something.
Thank God they did the women's revolution, because there really is some amazing, legitimate female athletes out there putting on and they don't have to stoop down to a certain level to do that. So
did you, by the way, just sorry to interrupt this, we can go back to it. Did you end up having that Titans Bills game?
Yeah, it's on right now. As we're recording it.
All right, you beat me.
Yeah.
Right. I was kind of I wasn't hoping. I'm glad that nobody has coronavirus. But for fantasy's sake, if they did have to cancel that game, I could have beat Matt.
Oh.
Potentially.
Well, sorry.
But I lost.
But yeah,
so, I didn't play any of my Bills either, or my Titans. I have Bills and Titans players I didn't play. So
my number one, my quarterback is Josh Allen, who played the worst game so far this season at.
Yeah, so did Lamar. Don't worry about it.
And then Derrick Henry did have a great game, bounce back after last week with 2 touchdowns over for 57 yards.
But I bet you Singletary did very well too. He's not playing. He's on my bench because I figured he wasn't going to get to play. But
and do you want me to say so?
Oh no! Don't out the score on the podcast. Everyone, if you want to know the score of me and Matt's fantasy football matchup, you have to follow the Sweetness on Sweetness League on Instagram. That's what you have to do. Find us, and you can read the full write-up. You can also read the write-ups from when I win, more importantly, which is not often, unfortunately.
I'm figuring out what I'm trying to figure out what theme I'm going to do this week for the fantasy recaps. I did the TV show football. I was thinking maybe cartoons.
There you go.
Maybe baseball or some absurd sport. To keep it fresh. Since I write the recaps. So we are hitting the end of 2020. I think we're about 10 to 12 weeks away. What did you probably get the most out of this year that was so nuts?
I mean, we basically missed the year.
Yeah, we got robbed at 25, as my good friend once said.
Yeah, I mean, I was the first person in my family to have the quarantine birthday, and it was kind of like a novelty. Like, oh, poor Ryan, he didn't get his birthday, and then
And your birthday's March
27th.
Yes.
And so then everybody else had one, and I was like, yeah,
I'm about to have one
going away.
My birthday is December 31st. So according to some people on Twitter, that's the day when the pandemic ends. So, or when things just start getting good again. So we can celebrate that with my birthday.
It's just not gonna. That's not real life. But
I know.
I don't want to get into that. 2020. What I get out of 2020? I mean, I got a lot of use out of my apartment.
You made that rent and youth worth it.
Well, you know, we had that really small apartment that you first saw when we moved, and then we moved to a bigger unit
in Highland Park, New Jersey.
Ago. Yeah, and honestly, that's been if we were still in that small build, that small back apartment unit, I don't know what was going to happen. It wasn't going to be good though. So I am glad that we moved. I'm glad that we have a little bit more space to spread out during the day. And Melissa ended up going in a lot.
Yeah.
So it didn't end up being too important. But, you know, when it first started and we were both home, that was key. Being able to, you know, just go into 2 separate rooms on opposite ends of the apartment and not have to worry about it. Like, you know, get work done, whatever. And I mean, we're doing it now. Melissa's the other room. So just being able to separate. And if we were in that small apartment, that never would have happened. Like, never.
Timing really is everything, huh? I hear that. Yeah, I think the biggest thing 2020 is being a fan of myself, and I got this podcast made and wrote a screenplay. I've been writing a lot of short stories and some more blogs. So productive one way or the other. All right, before we wrap this up, one thing I'm doing with this podcast, as I do literally to everybody in my life, everyone who has everybody who is at least an acquaintance and up. So if you're an acquaintance, a guy I know, a friend, a significant other, a family member,
and a confidant.
I ask a lot of random questions, literally just because. So let's start with them. I'm going to do some 3. What am I thinking? So Ryan, what do you think is the best ice cream out there right now? What is the best ice cream? You can have any ice cream you want. I know. It can have all the ingredients, and there's going to be no health defects, and it's free.
I mean, so there's this place here, and it's called Surreal Creamery. They have Uber Eats. You only did it a few times, but they've got like a Cookie Monster sundae thing, and so it's a cookie dough. Obviously, it's also like cake batter.
Do you know the name of the
marshmallows? I'm sorry.
The name of the place?
Yeah, Surreal Creamery is the name of the
okay.
Is the name of the place, and it's on Uber Eats. And it comes in like this mason jar, and that's very good. So I like those. Yeah, that's my most interesting answer. I mean, I love ice cream, but my most interesting one would be that, you know, that ice cream. Yeah.
I have another quote. What is, you know, my favorite ice cream is definitely Milk Craft. There's one in Fairfield, Connecticut, and there's one in the West Hartford area, which is
have a lot of strange flavors there too.
Oh, I love the blue cookie, whatever they make.
That sounds very similar to what I'm talking about. Just by the name alone, it sounds very similar.
Ryan, do you have a funny story from either at a fast food place or has to do with fast food in some way? A reference.
I'm assuming I can't tell. It's not my story. It's your story. I can't tell.
Well, I was gonna say that story. Follow your story after it.
All right. But I don't have a funny fast food story. That's the funniest thing I've heard, like, involving a fast food chain, I think.
Okay, so I'll give the story.
I think you got to tell the story because it's both of our answer.
Okay, fair enough. So I'm working at Kohl's. I worked at Kohl's for 7 years. This was right before my freshman year, and
that's right.
I had this customer, and she was wearing University of Hartford stuff, and you know, she looked like my age, and so I was just shooting the shit with her, talking, I guess a little flirting. One thing led to another. I got a number. She wrote her number for me on a receipt and gave it to me. So things are going good. You know, a couple of days go by.
It's smooth up to this point. It's a great story for you.
It's so ideal. This was, I even think, pre-dating apps. This was a genuine.
I'm sure there were dating apps, but yeah.
Oh yeah, but this is definitely pre-Tinder phase.
Yeah.
And so things were working well, and she was oddly talking about how much she loved fast food at McDonald's. She's a pretty girl. She was she would look like Salma Hayek. I can honestly say that. It's a really beautiful Latina girl with beautiful hair and all that. So she says to me, I love McDonald's. I love McDonald's. I love this, that, blah, blah, blah. And I say, you know what? That's McAwesome. I just simply say, this is McAwesome for you to tell me how much you love McDonald's. You know, Mick and awesome. And she, in the most serious tone, she's like, she literally texted me, what the fuck is that? You think that's funny? I said, yeah. I thought, okay, she's probably being sarcastic. I can have a nice repertoire with her. We can play around with each other. She's like, no, I think that's really stupid what you said. That's not funny. You're pretty fucking weird. She literally said that to me and never talked to me again. She stopped talking to me after my attempt to lighten the mood. Who knows where this girl is now? Maybe she got really fat off McDonald's.
I mean, maybe not, but I just think that's hysterical that she opted to talk to you about McDonald's. You said McAwesome, and then it just ended the conversation immediately. That's such a bad line that even over text, you couldn't save it. A conversation ender for anyone who's taking notes.
Oh my God.
That's not the way.
This could have been us, but you didn't find my joke funny.
Well, it wasn't that funny, so she happened to be right, but
like, I don't know. When it comes to funny stuff, are you supposed to be witty? Like, all my lines.
I feel like puns are never the right answer.
Not anymore, for sure.
Puns, yeah.
I think it worked when I was younger, but definitely not now. I mean,
except for that one time when you said McAwesome.
Yeah, I had a whole girlfriend in the first conversation I ever said to her, matching on Tinder, will you be my Tinderella? And then
I'm assuming she never spoke to you ever again, right?
No, I had a legitimate relationship with her for a good.
You should have kept that one
For a good few months, but it was an amazing time. And then she would text me. I remember she told me, "Oh, you know that line? So many people have said that line." And I think I did take that from a Google best Tinder tickos. But hey, she fell for me, and it was a good while it lasted. So maybe it really does hit or miss. If they really like you or into you, I call it the Channing Tatum test. He can say whatever he wants as long as it's not offensive, and they'll fall for him. So, okay, my last question is can you tell me a funny story about you at a sport game, whether baseball, football, high school? A funny situation there. If not that one, tell me a funny concert story if some situation happened.
Funny sports.
Or funny or interesting.
Anytime I go anywhere with my brother, it's usually pretty funny. He's never prepared. All right, I'll tell this one. So we drove from New Jersey to a Mets game to meet my brother and my cousin. Neither one of them, I don't think either of them would be offended in me saying this, has the best track record for preparedness. My brother has his moments, and I'll get to it. But so not only did we go, we actually brought a friend. So a friend of Melissa's, a New Jersey friend. So they didn't know Colin previously. Colin's my brother. They never had any experience. And Colin, like I said, can be an acquired taste depending on, the kind of mood he's in. And so we get there, and we're going to do, just like tailgate essentially, and then go into the Mets game. So we parked into the parking lot, and he bought chicken wings. He bought hot dogs. He bought burgers. He brought everything. He didn't bring a grill. So we had just a bunch of raw food.
Oh, no.
So they took, they had like charcoal and stuff, and they didn't have a grill top. Like they couldn't grill. So they put it, like all the charcoal in like a tray, and then put like another tray on top of it. And then they lit it, and so it was like on fire. Essentially, it was an open flame, which is not allowed. He just
caused arson in the Citi Field parking lot.
And so, again, basically an open flame, which is not allowed. But no one came over; it was fine.
They were already an open flame on the Mets field.
Started cooking everything there in the parking lot. I was like, all right, good call. He didn't bring plates. So we had like a roll of paper towel. Now
Oh,
we both managed to bring the beer. We both were able to remember drinks. That's all we
of
remembered
course.
essentially.
Most
So
important.
so now we had no tools to like flip anything. So he's like flipping burgers like with his like hand
Oh my!
over an open flame, and then we're putting them onto the buns, grabbing them with like a paper towel and eating them. And same with the wings. It was again. It was the most. We looked like we may have looked homeless because we were in the marina parking lot too. I mean, you see, my beard wasn't like this because I didn't have the quarantine cut. But my brother has got a very bushy beard as well. So, I mean, when everyone else went away, if everybody else like left the picture and you just saw my brother and me making wings over an open flame next to my Subaru, you'd think we were homeless. You'd think that these
Man,
people.
there wasn't anyone around being curious. Hey, could we borrow your grill or
So that's what's
plates?
worse. There was people saw this happening and then just said nothing. No one's like, "Hey, I've got a spatula," or "Would you like some plates?" They just kind of sat there and watched us go. I think they were being entertained. They liked hearing me because, of course, me and my brother were arguing. Like, he was like, "Do this." I'm like, "What do you mean do that? How do you want me to do that?" And he's like, "Just do it." I'm like, "With what? My mind? I don't have any tools." It was so we were yelling at each other as we
On
as we
top
tend
of
to
all
do.
this.
Right. So it was. I mean, sure, it was pretty entertaining. So maybe that's why they're like, we have plates, but if we give them plates, we don't get to see this anymore. I don't even remember if that was a good game. So we might have been the most entertaining part of their City Field experience.
You're on
Whoever they were.
somebody's.
Yeah, we
You're on
were
somebody's
somebody's City Field experience.
that, and you're on somebody's
Essentially.
Snap stories for sure. Oh
Oh,
man.
that's probably true too. I wonder that sometimes. I'm like, I wish I knew more people on Snapchat and like Instagram and stuff because I want to know if I go viral.
I'm
My
sure.
brother's friend did.
Really, what do you do?
He went on a bar stool. He fell through a fence. Yeah,
Hey, look at me,
fell through a
mom. I
fence.
made it.
No, they're like getting some money out of it too. They're using it for some of their marketing. Yeah,
That's hilarious.
it's pretty
Only in
funny.
America. That's capitalism, right?
I guess so. Yeah,
All
some form
right.
of it anyway.
Right. Well, I think that's a great note to end on, Ryan. I thank you for the time here.
Thank you for having me.
For sure. And one thing to announce too is that me and Ryan are going to host a podcast on our own.
We are.
As
We are going to
co-hosts.
do a co-host situation here.
And
Now that we know that Zoom has the capabilities to connect the world, even though we are in separate parts of the tri-state area,
right.
we're going to give it a go.
Exactly. So I'm definitely excited for that and be on the lookout once that is announced. But besides this, on this podcast for private conversations with Matt Brown as my guest, Ryan Page, it was nothing but a pleasure. Thanks for coming on with me, and I'll talk to you very soon. And both in text and in Zoom. So
Let's say in text, it could be as soon as right after this.
perfect way to end it. Thanks again, Ryan. It was a blast, and I'll see you all soon.
All right. Thanks, Matt.
No problem. Bye.
Bye.